Located on 225 acres in Garden City, Long Island, Nassau Community College, a member of the State University of New York system, has close to 20,000 students attend the school each year. The college mascot is Leo the Lion, and these are his stories of the school's absolute best and brightest who have graduated over the past 50-plus years. Let's catch up together as the Alumni Association of Nassau Community College proudly presents Lion Tales, a Nassau Community College Foundation production on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome to Lion Tales, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation. My name is Aurora Workman. I am president of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association. I'm here with my friend and co-host, Dr. Lynnda Nadien, a proud graduate of Nassau Community College, and together we'll share stories that will inspire, uplift, and often amuse you.
Each week, Aurora and I will introduce you to alumni of Nassau Community College interested in sharing their experience here at Nassau Community College, along with the secrets to their success.
Oh, we have a great shout out for one of our alums, Leslie Peters, class of 1993, was recently named Director of Health, Physical Education, Athletics, and Wellness for the Roosevelt School District. Leslie was a former board member of the Alumni Association and a proud graduate of Nassau Community College.
Look for many new and exciting events on the Alumni Association social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and our web pages at www.ncc.edu/alumni. If you, our listening audience, has any positive news you would like to share about Nassau Community College alumni, engagements, births, graduations, weddings, and or accolades, email us at alumni@ncc.edu and we will shout you out.
Today's guest is Kate Fox, mother, breast cancer survivor, award-winning author, and poet. In addition, she is the owner, founder of Sly Fox Talent Management, and a proud graduate of Nassau Community College. Welcome to Lion Tales, Kate Fox, class of 1987.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So, there is so much that you have accomplished over the years since leaving Nassau. So we're going to talk about a few of them. But before we start, I just want to know, one of a kind. What makes you a one of a kind as a poet and writer?
Wow. I have developed a very specific style over many, many years, and my writing is very distinct, and it's also, as is a lot of poetry, but it's very, very personal.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of the most challenging parts of your work right now, and what is really a rewarding thing?
I'll do rewarding first. The most rewarding thing is touching people. Mm-hmm. Whether it's breast cancer, which I've had, my third collection is out now as well, about my breast cancer journey, and I have one quote regular collection, but it's touching people and giving them something that they can take away from my work that they feel personally. It really, I found it to be relatively universal, whether it's cancer, whether it's not cancer. If you put your heart into something, everyone's going to take something away from it.
Yeah. Did you find that you were sort of journaling the path that you were on at that time, and it developed into selected poems, or you were writing them like down as poetry right away in terms of just getting it down on paper?
Well, that is basically, I'm trying to journal more consistently now, but that's basically how I've journaled my entire life, writing poetry. And so that's what I did. I scraps of paper, notebooks, whatever. As I go through anything in life, I write things down. And when I was first diagnosed, of course, I was writing. And finally, when I was getting ready to do my first Making Strides walk as a breast cancer survivor, I said, oh my God, I have enough for a book. And that's how my first full collection came about.
And I noticed
that's very interesting.
A lot of journeys I've noticed, and I come from a family who has lost people to breast cancer, and a survivor myself. And one of the best things that I noticed in terms of just the community of encouragement, I was with shout out to my women. They know they are. As a community, we really lift each other up, and through those times where, because life still goes on, and now you're dealing with this, and we called it life interrupters. But, we're like, this is interrupting what we want to do over here, or this is interrupting here. And the women really came together, and we really was able to help each other through even the big. I was the less severe, but of my friends and of my cousin who I lost, it was really good to have that community, and to have someone who would really understand you, and what you were going through. So that I know your work then is probably really poignant and touches a lot of people.
Well, I hope so. Mm-hmm. I hope so, and I think it of course, I was lucky. That was actually my blessing, because breast cancer is the thing that pushed me to do my first book, my first complete book. Otherwise I would have been. I was publishing, I was writing, and it wasn't always about publishing. I was writing, but it just pushed me to that next level, which opened the doors for me to so many different career opportunities, life opportunities, community. Breast cancer for me was a blessing.
You seized the moment.
Were you paper pencil, or are you tablet?
I am. I always carry stuff to write with, paper, pencil, but I tend to now do more computer, or even I'll grab my cell phone and throw it in notes, because my handwriting's atrocious. And I've worked as a typist for many years as well, so it's just easier to do it that way because my hands get cramped up. So I love to write things down, but I'm sort of half and half.
Yeah, that's great though.
So as your career had more, morphed into being a poet and writer, and stemming out of this, what was your goals when you were here at Nassau? Well,
I wanted to be an actress. I was a theater major. I had been a theater kid before I came here. And that's what my degree is in. So, and
you love theater.
I am. Yes, I love theater, and I'm a Broadway baby. I can't get enough of it. But it was. I don't know if I had necessarily at that time the drive to push it all the way. So I sort of had to take a stop, take a little detour, and even though I don't act now, I give public speeches and I go to events and things like that, and I do the on-camera interviews, which is sort of, I kind of prefer it to acting because I get to be more myself.
That's true. And, many of our guests, it's interesting to see that they are all somehow in the arts or musical theater or somehow related back to music, writing, art.
Really?
And so it's sort of like a balance between your serious day job as whatever you're doing, and then at night everyone's coming out as a comedian or an actor, and that's so interesting too. What are some of your favorite shows that you've been in or that you like to see or that you've seen?
Oh my God, everything. I mean, I'm trying to think of what I saw most recently because I've just been. There's so many things I like to go and do now, but
let's come back to you with that. We're going to come back with Kate, and we're going to talk about movies. We're going to talk about some shows. You're listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Aurora Workman, along with Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Kate Fox, a regular contributor to Great South Bay magazine for 11 years. Her work has also been featured in the diversity and shadow shows at the East End Art Gallery. So, Kate, we were talking about some movies. What are some of your favorite shows or anything that you've been in? You even as a play, I mean, you've been in the actress, or you've been in plays. What was one of your favorite portrayals?
Oh, Guys and Dolls.
Yeah.
Guys and Dolls. I was Sister Sarah in Guys and Dolls. Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I remember some music from that too.
Oh yeah. Yes, that was fun. That was fun. We did Glass Menagerie here.
Yeah.
I was the mother. I was Amanda. So that was a taxing role.
That was great. I remember seeing that. Yeah, that's that. I was here back in the 80s.
That would have been me. If you saw it then, that was me.
My hand. Okay, what were now we talked about you being a contributor to Great South Bay magazine. Tell us something about that. Where does it cover? And
well, Great South Bay magazine is a magazine dedicated, of course, to Long Island's Great South Bay community, and it was actually the first publication that published my poetry. And they had 11 issues per year. I was probably in 7 to 8 issues per year during that time. So I was very lucky in that, and I thank Susan Webb Bella, who it was the publisher at that time, who really just took my work, and I knew what she wanted, and I was able to give her what she wanted so that I would be able to get my work published there.
Wonderful.
And my daughter also was published in there, just to shout out.
Shout out your baby. And is that something that you worked on improving over the years, or you did, that all just came together from the start?
It sort of just fell into, once I started, once I got my technique honed, I sort of just figured out what any publication, if I wanted to submit to, what they were looking for. And that I've been very blessed. I can craft something for that. And that's how we get published. We find the audience, just like anything. You find the audience, and you have to touch the audience, otherwise why bother?
Right.
So
Right.
And then what kind of artwork did you produce for the diversity and shadow shows at the East End Gallery?
Believe it or not, that was poetry as well.
Okay.
They had some shows where they would accept any form of media.
Oh, that's that's great.
To
do that.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. There were sculptures, there were photographs, paintings, and poetry.
Right.
All on the wall. All on the walls of the gallery, and it was something that was really, really special to do.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Is that an annual show, or
they do? I want to say 4 shows a year. They don't do as much poetry because of the books coming out, and etc. And with my various commitments to shows that I'm doing, I haven't submitted in a year or two. But they did change their rules a little bit. But East End Arts Gallery and East End Arts Council is a wonderful, wonderful group, a wonderful place for all kinds of art. They do music also. I know they have music lessons for kids. During the summertime, Memorial Day weekend, I think they do the street mosaic painting.
Nice.
And the entire street is shut down. You can get blocks of space on the street and draw your own mosaic and chalk, and they have music and art and vendors, and it's really, really cool.
Well, tell our listening audience something about the East End, because we're talking about the East End of Long Island in New York, and we stream all across the country. So we wanted to share with our listening audiences about our Long Island. Tell us something about the East End. How would you?
The East End. You know what I think of? Water, beaches.
Yeah.
That's really, it's a beautiful place to be. I've been on Long Island. Really, I moved the year I started here at Nassau. I moved down to Long Island, and I've been here ever since. And I had 2 years in Manhattan. Otherwise, I've been here ever since. But I love it here. You have the beach, you have, I'll say country, parks, but you have the suburbs, you have a little bit of city, you have a little bit of everything here, I think.
Right. It is.
Taking that ride, taking the ride out east, and you say, wow, I can't believe that this is all here.
Yes.
And
look at the farm.
And there's a great record store out there, Inner Sleeve Records, and Amagansett, and all little shops you can shop in. So, it's a great day trip, and Southampton, and then when you go really far out, the wineries are all
the
out
vineyards,
there.
the orchards, there's so much to do out here.
Yeah, no, I think that it's something that we should promote as well. Usually everyone's going back to the city,
right?
For shows, but also the Argyle Theater in Babylon has opened up again.
Yes. The Paramount.
Yeah, the Paramount
is a fantastic venue.
And they're doing Spring Awakening is opening at the
Argyle, yes.
And just to say, wait a minute, I don't have to travel back west, to Penn. I can just go right out and take that train out east.
There are tons of venues, theatrical venues, music venues. There's such a thriving scene, music scene, all these different theaters. There are these cons that they do now, all the different, with comic book conventions and cosplay and everything that they do out here.
You were listening to Lion Tales. Today's guest has had her work featured in the Suffolk County Poetry Review 2015 through 2018, 13 Days of Halloween in 2017, and Performance Poet Association 2015 and 2017 anthologies. My name is Lynnda Nadien, along with Aurora Workman, on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. I was only 34 years old and the mother of 3 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was forced to make a decision about my health with few options. After my treatment, I made a commitment to provide help and inspire hope to those affected by breast cancer through early detection, education, and support services. I was fortunate to have resources and support through my journey, but so many facing breast cancer have to overcome the burdens of cost and fear alone. No one should face breast cancer alone. Today, NBCF has provided over 1 million early detection and patient navigation services so that women in need have access to these potentially life-saving resources. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org.
Welcome back to Lion Tales, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Dr. Lynnda Nadien, along with Aurora Workman, and our guest today is Kate Fox. Kate's work has been included in Bard's annual 2014 through 2018 anthologies and Bards Against Hunger 2017. So a bard is a poet, traditionally one reciting epics and associated with a particular oral tradition. So what is the range of subject matter covered in your poetry?
Everything. My poetry is whatever my life is, or even if say I read a newspaper article and that strikes me, I will craft something around that. If it touches me, I make it mine. I tend to write in the first person, so sometimes people will think every single thing I write is about me. And while in some way it is, it's not always.
Right.
But I will cover every subject.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's wonderful because, before we go on behalf of Nassau Community College Alumni Association, we're always so proud to shout out our alums. We want to congratulate you on winning the Bard's Humanitarian Award for your work due to breast cancer awareness and the various charities that include the American Cancer Society and Cancer Can Rock. And, we put you right up there as one of our proud alums. So.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And so what did this award mean to you after fighting breast cancer and, becoming a survivor?
You know what? It took me by surprise. But not too long after I had my second surgery, I was asked by American Cancer Society to speak for them. And that's when my book came out, my first book. And when my first book came out, I also was donating a portion of every sale to American Cancer Society. I did a book launch for my second book, and I did a fundraiser for them as well, where I raised, I think, at that $1,000 or more. Mm-hmm. So that's what the award was for, because I'm continually, being active in trying to make awareness and trying to support a multitude of charities that help breast cancer survivors. Or now I've sort of morphed to other cancers, because if it touches me, then I want to touch it in some way, Right.
And there's so many, unfortunately, out there. And so many, but everyone, if it does one thing, we all can do one thing. Yes. And that's what a lot of times people don't feel that they're able to contribute, because it's like, I'm so small, my contribution will be small. But no, we want even that contribution adds to a bigger set of contributors.
Right.
It does.
And the element of awareness of people still realizing that breast cancer is affecting people even to this day, and the survival rates are much better, and the treatments are so much better that people don't have to be so fearful of even going to the doctor. If you found a lump and you say, I'm not going to go, but you have to, and women and everyone really needs to be checked.
Everyone, because men too,
yes.
And that's I guess luck. Yeah, luckily there's more awareness about male breast cancer now, because a lot of men haven't gotten treated in the past and have been ignored, and they have it too. So awareness is hugely important in that regard as well. And breast cancer is also a younger disease now. So even though it's more treatable in some ways, it's also hitting some women so much younger, and men again, so much younger, that it's part of all of us, really. Right. We've all been touched by it, and one of the things I say is we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Right, and to maintain that awareness, I think publicly is so important, that if you can do that with any type of writing and any type of initiative, they do Relay for Life and all of these great organizations that are still working. American Cancer Society works so hard for that, but they need help. They need supporters, they need advocates. So that's so great that you're able to do that.
Now, let me ask you: did Sly Fox Talent Management come out of all of this, or was this before and it morphed? Tell us about it.
Everything came out of everything. So, I was being, quote, a normal person for a little while when I discovered the breast cancer, even though I was writing. And then had the book come, and out of the book actually is where I got Sometimes Adversity Isn't, which is something we were going to discuss, I think, which was my first on-camera show. And I brought in people who would talk about situations that they dealt with and turned their lemons into lemonade, because that was one of my poems, actually.
And that's the web show, Sometimes Adversity.
Yes. And so that more, in interviewing various people, I started managing a recording artist. So I created Sly Fox Talent Management. And then everything keeps morphing into something else and something better and something more interesting.
You see how the doors open up?
They do.
And as your book states, sometimes adversity isn't.
And it's true. It's what we make out of it.
Right.
Yeah. So as we're talking about the book, let's get into the book. Where can we call that show up on YouTube? Or I see it's the Daily Blue.
Yes, they have all of my shows, and I think I'm behind for a couple, but all of the shows I do, whether it was for the Daily Blue, whether it was for Village Connection, whether it's the Kate Fox Show, they're all on. Links are available through my website, and they're also on YouTube. The show I do now, I put up on my Facebook page. I have a Facebook page dedicated to that. And we're covering a lot of events, and I have a lot of interesting interviews scheduled actually to do.
Oh, that's going to be wonderful. So when does it air? It
airs, you know what, we are setting a specific time. We sort of took a let's go live all the time approach for a while. So I was just going to various conventions. They do the Eternal Con over at the Coliseum now. They were doing it at Cradle of Aviation, and I've covered that. I cover the Chocolate Expo anytime it comes to the Cradle of Aviation, the Honey Fest. I actually just did on-camera interviews. I was the interviewer at a movie premiere out in Jersey City, where I had met most of the people involved with it out here on Long Island. So I have to nail myself down a little bit. But
you are listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Aurora Workman, along with Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Kate Fox, author of My Pink Ribbons, Hope and Liars, Mistruths, and Perception. And we were talking about her show, Sometimes Adversity Isn't, and everything that came out of that. And it's important that there are a lot of people who feel the blessings of especially when you have an illness that comes and it's very traumatic and brings the family together. Sometimes people say, that adversity is not. They make the best of it, and you become closer, or you discover new truths. And so I was looking on the web, looking for your Liars, Mistruths, and Perception. And it's great that I would love for you to come over to the college and be able to talk to young people
anytime.
Because it really spoke to it's that other side of that glass. Is your glass half full
or is it half empty? Exactly.
And I always have a half full glass. So it's wonderful to have someone as yourself who has had those experiences and who has really been able to put the words into meanings for that others can understand and really gear to. So after releasing your book, My Pink Ribbons, and I want to, before I go on, tell us a little bit about that book.
Well, My Pink Ribbons was, I'm trying to think of when the first poem. Actually, I have a poem that I had written 2 years before I was diagnosed about breast cancer. Because I walked for several years to raise awareness anyway. It touched me. And so it was just born. I think one of the first poems in it was when I got my diagnosis. But when I went for the sonogram and the testing prior to my diagnosis. And it literally goes from the beginning to the right after the first surgery that I had. And then that's when I stopped. As I said, when I was getting ready for the walk, my surgery was August 26, 2013. I had a unilateral total mastectomy. And so that was my first walk as a survivor in October. And so I had stopped it right there because I said, I think that's enough of a chapter to share with people.
Right. Was that a routine mammogram and sonogram that you had, or you felt something?
I had a mammogram, which I have been having mammograms for several years, because even though technically if you go by genetic testing and all of that, I don't have, quote, a history of breast cancer in my family. Yes. My maternal grandmother did lose a breast. And I had here and there little biopsies when I was younger. Yeah. So they gave me, I was before, the age of mammogram, I was getting them. So I had a baseline going. And they did a routine one, and of course they sent me for a sonogram, which for me was routine. Yeah. And while I was there, I knew that something was going on because she just took way too long on the one side. Right. Yeah. So when I got the call, for a second it was shock, but I was kind of expecting it, if that makes sense. Because you know.
Because you know, and you catch that little look that the doctor gives.
You know. But the sonogram is what really found it. And then,
and they do recommend Mammosono, even though a lot of the insurance companies are trying to talk you out of it, but they really should not, because the sono is something that will really define it if the mammo doesn't see it.
Absolutely. Or the 3D mammograms they do now. I know I drag people to Zwanger-Pesiri because they found my cancer. I will tell you. And but they do the 3D mammograms, and I've spoken with a lot of people there, and they said they're very, very effective. Yes. So I tell people that I don't know, strangers, I'll hand them my card and I'll say, you haven't gotten a mammogram? What are you talking about? Call me, I'll take you.
And you cannot be afraid. You have to do it.
And it's foolish.
From your experiences, what is the one thing that you would always try to convey to your audiences? I mean, if you're sitting here talking in front of you're looking at these young current students that we have here at Nassau Community College, what is the one experience that you can share with them that they could use that will encourage them or inspire?
Well, I guess what I would share with them is not necessarily an experience, but it's the outlook that the breast cancer gave me, because it was the one time in my life I had to relinquish control, and I sort of watched how things went, but I had faith. That I knew everything was going to be okay. I knew it. But once I went through that, I decided I'm not going to say no. Because if an opportunity comes, even if I'm scared, or what's the worst that's going to happen to me? Right. Just do it. Or ask people if there's something you want, go after it. Because again, what's the worst they can do? Say no. What is that going to do to you? Right. It doesn't hurt. It might, be a little slap in the face for a second, but is it really going to hurt you in the long run? No. And you have everything to gain.
Well, thank you. We'd like to thank our guest, Kate Fox, Sly Fox Talent Management, and a proud alum of Nassau Community College. And how can our audience contact you?
They can contact me. My website is katespityparty.com, so they could email me at kate@katespityparty.com. They can check out my Facebook page. I have the Kate Fox Show Facebook page, and also My Pink Ribbons. And I put up my events on my website, on my Facebook pages, and anything that's coming up. I'll do live feeds sometimes if I'm at an event. So there are a lot of ways they can contact me.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate you being here on Lion Tales.
We want to thank you for being with us. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, along with my fabulous friend Aurora Workman, president of Nassau Community College Alumni Association. The creative director of Lion Tales is Rudy J. Breedy. This show is a production of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association. Visit nassaucommunitycollege.edu/WHPC for more information. Available as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. Lion Tales is powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. We'll see you and talk to you next week.
The views expressed on air are not necessarily those of WHPC, its management, or Nassau Community College. Responsible opposing viewpoints will be considered by emailing them to whpc@ncc.edu or by mail at WHPC 1 Education Drive, Garden City, New York 11530. Thanks for listening to the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. The news that matters to Nassau County from the students and volunteers at the voice of Nassau Community College. Brought to you by Newsday and Newsday.com. This is the WHPC News Wrap-Up on 90.3 WHPC.
Good evening. It's 35 degrees on this Tuesday, February 19th. I'm Zach Durkel along with Danielle Schwetz and Jacides Espinal. WHPC News Time is 4:33, and now here's our top story. A federal judge ordered Roger Stone to appear in court to consider whether to revoke his bail after the longtime Donald Trump confidant posted a photo on Instagram of the judge with what appeared to be crosshairs of a gun. U.S. District Judge Amy Berman Jackson said Stone must show for a hearing Thursday afternoon and prove why she shouldn't modify or revoke his bail or implement a full gag order in his case. Yesterday, Stone posted a photo of Jackson with what appeared to be crosshairs near her head. Later in the day, Stone and his attorneys filed a notice with the court that they recognized the quote photograph and comment today was improper and should not have been posted. Stone said the photo was misinterpreted and that it was a quote random photo taken from the internet. He dismissed any suggestion that he was trying to threaten the judge as categorically false. The political operative and self-described dirty trickster has pleaded not guilty to charges he lied to Congress, engaged in witness tampering, and obstructed a congressional investigation into possible coordination between Russia and Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. The charges stem from conversations he had during the 2016 election about WikiLeaks, the anti-secrecy group that released material stolen from Democratic groups, including Hillary Clinton's campaign. Stone was arrested last month, and it is the sixth Trump aide or advisor charged in special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. He's currently free on a $250,000 personal recognizance bond. Stone has maintained his innocence and blasted the special counsel's investigation as politically motivated. He has also criticized his case as involving only process crimes.
A New York appeals court has ruled that police body camera footage is subject to public disclosure under state law. An Appellate Division panel said that the footage doesn't constitute a personnel record, and therefore it isn't covered by the state law that keeps such records secret. The Associated Press, BuzzFeed, the New York Times Company, and other media outlets had filed briefs arguing the footage is vital to transparency and police accountability. The city's largest police union fought its release, citing privacy and safety concerns. The NYPD released its first body camera footage of a fatal shooting in September 2017. The appeals court halted the release of the footage in July while it considered the matter.
A Suffolk County man is under arrest after he was caught driving with 53 license suspensions. Police arrested 50-year-old Darrell Morgan after he was pulled over on the Sunrise Highway Service Road in North Babylon. During the investigation, police determined Morgan was driving with a fake New Jersey license plate. Morgan was charged with an aggravated unlicensed operation of a motor vehicle. The Mercedes he was driving has been impounded. Morgan was released on an appearance ticket for a future court date at the Suffolk County 1st District Court in Central Islip.
Another winter storm is trekking across the United States tomorrow, dumping snow in the Rockies and en route to the East Coast. Winter storm warnings have been issued for New Mexico, Colorado, Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, and Michigan. Advisories have been issued for the Midwest and south to Oklahoma and parts of North Texas. Forecasters said the storm has the potential to impact 20 million Americans this week. Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and the Appalachian Mountains areas will get freezing rain and ice. Winter storm warnings have been issued for the Carolinas and Maryland. The Washington, D.C., Baltimore area could get 3 to 6 inches too. New York City could get a couple of inches by tomorrow afternoon, making it a treacherous commute home for that evening. And if you want to find more information on the weather, tune in later to the WHPC News Wrap-Up.
Parents demanded answers at a meeting on Long Island after disturbing display was found inside a classroom. A collage showing a set of nooses was discovered hanging up inside Roosevelt Middle School. It was learned last week that a teacher in the middle school, where nearly half of the students are African American, had a collage in her classroom that included an image of a noose and a reference to it as a back-to-school necklace. The board found out about the offensive collage last week, and the 3 teachers involved were removed from the classroom pending a district investigation. There was a discussion among some parents about what form of discipline was appropriate for the teachers involved, whether they should be fired or suspended.
Coming up on the WHPC News Wrap-Up.
Another person is throwing their hat in the ring for the 2020 presidential race. Find out who up next right here in the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
90.3 WHPC proudly celebrates Black History Month. Now, did you know that in 1992, Dr. Mae Jemison became the first African-American woman to go into space aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour? During her 8-day mission, she worked with U.S. and Japanese researchers and was a co-investigator on a bone cell experiment. Hi, I'm Kate Murray, Vice President for Institutional Advancement right here at Nassau Community College, and Black history is everyone's history. This is a message from the NCC Black History Committee, which is proudly presented by the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
This is the WHPC News Wrap-Up on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
WHPC News Time is 4:38. And in other news, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders entered the 2020 race for president today.
I am going to run for president. We are going to also launch what I think is unprecedented, a grassroots movement to lay the groundwork for transforming the economic and political life of this country. You may recall that in 2016, many of the ideas that I talked about, Medicare for all, raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, making public colleges and universities tuition free, all of those ideas, people will say, oh, Bernie, they're so radical, they are extreme. The American people just won't accept those ideas. Well, you know what's happened in over 3 years? All of those ideas and many more are now part of the political mainstream.
Sanders won several key primaries in the 2016 race, including New Hampshire, before losing the Democratic nomination to Hillary Clinton. As a senator, the 77-year-old Sanders has remained a national leader of the Democratic Party, but he's registered as an independent. His 2020 website launched following today's announcement. Sanders brought issues such as Medicare for all, national health care, and a $15 minimum wage to the forefront of the Democratic platform. 5 fellow senators are running or exploring campaigns for the Democratic nomination, including Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren and California Senator Kamala Harris.
A 45-year-old Mexican man died in Border Patrol custody, becoming the 3rd person since December to die under the agency's care. Customs and Border Protection said yesterday the man entered the United States February 2nd near the Roma port of entry in Texas and requested medical attention. He was then transported to Mission Regional Medical Center, where he was cleared to travel. He was then transferred to the Rio Grande City Border Patrol Station. The next day, following a welfare check, he again requested a medical attention and was transferred to McAllen Medical Center, where he was diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver and congestive heart failure. He stayed at the faculty until he died yesterday morning.
In a new case, the women are represented by Mitchell Garbedian, an attorney who had represented hundreds of sexual abuse victims in the Boston area during the sexual abuse scandal involving Catholic priests there. One woman claims to have been sexually abused by McGann, the Monsignor and Auxiliary Bishop, Monsignor Edward L. Menton, and the Reverend Robert L. Brown, while they were assigned to St. Agnes Parish in Rockville Center. All the men are deceased. The second woman claims to have been sexually abused as a girl by McGann, Melton, and parish janitor John Hanlon, while they were also assigned to the parish of St. Agnes and Rockville Center. The Nassau County Police have not been contacted about the allegations, and the police will decide what action is proper after the news conference.
New York University plans to open an accelerated tuition-free medical school in Mineola in July with a focus on training primary care physicians. NYU Long Island students are expected to do their medical residency at NYU Winthrop Hospital. Will take classes in a building across the street from Winthrop. That will lead to more primary care physicians on Long Island, which, like the rest of the country, has a shortage of primary care doctors. NYU began offering a tuition-free education to its Manhattan students this academic year, and the same policy, which is for all students, regardless of need or merit, will be placed on Long Island. The money for the tuition scholarships is from a combination of fundraising for the school and the university's general endowment.
West Virginia teachers will strike for the second time within a year, this time to protest a state bill that would usher in charter schools using public funds dedicated for public schools. All but one of the state's 55 county public school districts canceled classes in anticipation of the strike that was called by West Virginia's 3 major school employee unions last night. Fred Albert, president of the American Federation of Teachers West Virginia, said that they didn't take a decision lightly to strike.
We didn't take this decision lightly. It was a tough decision to make, but our members spoke loud and clear that when they felt like their voices were being shut out, we would need to take action, and we're at that place.
While Senate Bill 451 gives teachers pay raises and increases funding for public education, it also allows for charter schools to be created in West Virginia for the first time. The bill will allow for public money to be used for private, online, and home schools through newly created educational savings accounts.
Coming up on the WHPC News Wrap-Up.
Governor of Illinois wants to increase the state's minimum wage. Find out more up next right here in the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
90.3 WHPC proudly celebrates Black History Month. Did you know Black History Month actually began as Negro History Month? It was created in 1926 by Dr. Carter G. Woodson, a noted African-American historian, scholar, educator, and publisher. It became a month-long celebration in 1976. The month of February was chosen to coincide with the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. I'm Dr. Craig Wright, Chief Diversity Officer and Associate Vice President for Equity and Inclusion at Nassau Community College. And Black history is everyone's history. A message from the NCC Black History Committee, proudly presented by the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
This is the WHPC News Wrap-Up on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
WHPC News Time is 4:44. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker signed a bill hiking minimum wage in the state to $15 an hour by 2025. Under the new Illinois minimum wage, which stands at $8.25, will gradually be increased each year until it hits the new minimum. It will be increased by $1 each from January 1st through 2025 and 75 cents on July 1st, 2020. Chicago's base rate is $12 an hour and will increase to $13 later this year. The Illinois Manufacturers Association and the Illinois Retail Merchants Associations voiced opposition to the law. Illinois is one of more than 19 states that saw minimum wage increases go into effect or get approved this year. The boost comes 6 years after the launch of the Fight for $15 movement, in which New York City fast food workers demonstrated for a $15 pay per hour minimum wage.
A serial package thief caught on surveillance video was arrested and arraigned on petty larceny charges. 22-year-old Justin Hines of New Jersey was the man seen in the video from Lincoln Street in Cedarhurst. The video shows Hines taking 2 boxes and then walking back to his red Volkswagen and driving off Saturday afternoon. Hines has also been linked to similar incidents at 2 other homes on Park Lane in Woodmere that same day. He spoke to News 12 about the incident, including his diagnosis with schizophrenia.
I'm really apologetic for what I did. My circumstances pushed me to where I have to do the things that I do. I was actually a student at Rutgers University in Newark last year. Over the summer, I got diagnosed with schizophrenia, and I got pushed out of school because of that. And the system is a little broken.
Hines was arraigned on 3 counts of petty larceny and released on his own recognizance.
The U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear an appeal involving a defamation lawsuit against former actor Bill Cosby by an accuser. The court, which was at full strength with the return of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, refused to hear the appeal from Catherine May McKee. In doing so, it let stand a lower court decision that said she had no legal grounds to file a defamation suit because she's a limited public figure. She said in 2014, Cosby has raped her 30 years earlier. The suit said Cosby attorney Martin Singer repeatedly called her a liar in the press. Cosby is serving 3 to 10 years in a Pennsylvania prison for the 2004 assault of a different woman. Ginsburg returned to a bench after spending the last several weeks recovering from her lung cancer.
Today, a female employee of Oceanside Sanitation District alleged she was sexually harassed by members of the district's all-male Board of Commissioners. 2 of her colleagues were fired for sticking up for her. The trio is filing notices of claims and complaints to the New York State Division of Human Rights against Hempstead Town's Sanitary District No. 7. Jacqueline Yearley, a secretary in the district, said the commissioners have repeatedly made lustful comments to her, including suggesting that she was having an affair with one of them. 9 days later, the board voted to fire Faust and district treasurer Douglas Hernandez without explanation. Hernandez told Yearley he would serve as a witness to her allegations.
All right, let's take a look at the WHPC business news update. Let's see how the stock markets closed today. Well, everything closed up. The Dow closed up 8 points at 25,891. The Nasdaq closed up 14 points at 7,486. And the S&P 500 closed up 4 points at 2,779. And now in business news, Payless Shoe Source has officially declared bankruptcy and will close all 2,500 of its North American stores by the end of May. The company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection last night. The move files reports last week that signaled the retailer was heading in that direction. Liquidation sales started last weekend with plans to shutter some stores by the end of March. This marks the second time Payless has filed for bankruptcy in the last 2 years, but this time the company will not survive. The company has debts and assets between $500 million to $1 billion. Like many old brick-and-mortar retailers, Payless has struggled to compete with the convenience of online shopping or the scale of Walmart.
Now, your WHPC Long Island weather forecast.
Tonight, mostly cloudy skies, low of 23. Tomorrow, cloudy with periods of snow during the afternoon, high near 30. Accumulation of up to an inch. Thursday, morning clouds will give way to sunshine for the afternoon, high 53. It's currently 35 degrees outside our studios in Garden City.
Coming up on the WHPC News Wrap-Up.
Another animation adaptation of a Dr. Seuss book is in the works. Find out which one up next right here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hi, I'm Rob Leonard, host of Beatles Songs for the past 24 years right here on WHPC. Beatles Songs airs every Friday from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., playing the music of the Beatles together, apart, along with Beatle cover songs and songs the Beatles covered, along with songs the Beatle either guested on and or produced. And of course, we provide Beatle news. It's not the same show where they play the same 10 songs. So join me every Friday for Beatle Songs, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. on 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College, streaming at ncc.edu/WHPC.
This is the WHPC News Wrap-Up on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
WHPC News Time is 4:50, and in entertainment headlines this afternoon, Michael Douglas, Diane Keaton, Adam Devine, and more are part of the all-star voice cast for Netflix's upcoming animated adaptation of Dr. Seuss's Green Eggs and Ham. Jeffrey Wright, Tracy Morgan, David Diggs, and John Turturro will also be lending their voices to the series. Netflix announced on Twitter alongside the images of the cast of characters. The streaming service has also released a brief teaser trailer for the series, which featured a pair of green eggs being cracked open over a frying pan, which also contained a slice of ham. Green Eggs and Ham from executive producer Ellen DeGeneres will arrive on Netflix in the fall. The show was first announced in April of 2015 and is based on the Dr. Seuss children's book of the same name.
Colin Farrell has signed up to star in an upcoming BBC television adaptation of Ian McGuire's novel The North Water. Farrell will be featured on a 4-part drama series as Henry Drax, a killer who sets sail on a whaling expedition in the Arctic with disgraced ex-army surgeon Patrick Summer. The journey, which takes place in the late 1850s, turns into a struggle for survival for Summer, who finds himself with a murderous psychopath. The series will consist of 3-hour-long episodes that wraps up in a 90-minute finale. Production is set to begin in the fall. Farrell will be seen next in Disney's live-action remake of Dumbo.
Eileen Chaikin, the original series creator of The L Word, is excited for the drama's upcoming revival on Showtime in order to feature prominent gay and lesbian characters on television once again. The sequel series will once again feature original stars Jennifer Beals, Catherine Moning, and Leisha Haley as their respective characters, Betty, Shane, and Alice, alongside new characters. The L Word, which aired from 2004 to 2009, followed the lives and relationships of the number of LGBT characters. Ryan said that in the despite of the daily lives of lesbians on the new show, and will correct mistakes from the past by casting trans actors to play trans characters.
Coming up on the WHPC News Wrap-Up.
This 10-year-old has a world record for the longest baby tooth. Find out more up next, as well as sports coming up right here on 90.3 WHPC.
Every sound, every note, including the bass on this track, is played by a monkey.
American Hit Radio, Wednesdays and Fridays at 5 p.m. on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
This is the WHPC News Wrap-Up on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
WHPC News Time is 4:53, and now for a look at sports, here is Eric Fischetti.
Thank you, Zach. Manny Machado has agreed to the biggest free agent contract in American sports history, a 10-year, $300 million deal with the San Diego Padres. Machado, a four-time All-Star and two-time Gold Glove Award winner at third base, made $16 million between the Los Angeles Dodgers and Baltimore Orioles last season. The deal with the Padres includes an opt-out after the fifth season. San Diego, which has missed the playoffs for 12 consecutive seasons, ranked 28th in the majors last season after averaging just 3.8 runs per game. Machado has hit 30 home runs in each of the past 4 seasons. Only Will Myers has surpassed that mark for the Padres during that span. And only 6 times in Padres history has a player hit more home runs in a season than Machado did in 2018, with last to do it being Adrian Gonzalez in 2009. Now heading over to the ice, the New Jersey Devils have spent most of this season as one of the NHL's few non-playoff contenders, but now they're at least attempting to ensure some other teams share their misery. The Devils will look to continue playing spoiler tonight when they host the suddenly desperate Pittsburgh Penguins in Newark, New Jersey. Both teams were off on Monday after earning wins on Sunday when the Devils beat the visiting Buffalo Sabres 4-1 and the host Penguins edged the New York Rangers 6-5. The Devils' victory was their second straight and marked the first time they've won consecutive games since January 12th to the 14th. The winning streak is just the third for New Jersey since it opened the season by winning the first 4 games. Only one of those streaks was longer than 2 games. New Jersey took the first 3 meetings of the season from Pittsburgh by a combined score of 15-6, including road victories of 5-1 and 6-3, the latter coming on January 28th. And now heading to the Diamond, the New York Mets. By now, Tim Tebow has shown he belongs in professional baseball. He's fully committed to the game and much more comfortable on the field. On his first day at spring training with the New York Mets, the former NFL quarterback was reflecting on last year when he injured his ankle stepping on a sprinkler head at the beginning of camp. When speaking to the media, Tebow said, quote, "I didn't run or I didn't play one snap of outfield," eliciting big laughs while catching his own slip-up. Nevertheless, the 2007 Heisman Trophy winner of the University of Florida is no fish out of shoulder pads anymore. He's not on the 40-man Major League roster, but he's in the big league camp for the second consecutive year and ticketed for AAA Syracuse in April. And from WHPC Sports, I'm Eric Fischetti.
All right, let's take a look at the lighter side of news. An Ohio 10-year-old is a Guinness World Record holder after his dentist removed a baby tooth measuring 0.94 inches long. Curtis Buddy visited Dr. Scott Bossert at the Gentle Dentist in Columbus. I don't think it's gentle to have a tooth pulled, but whatever. To have the unusually long baby tooth or milk tooth removed safely. Bossert removed the tooth after the extraction, and it was found to be 0.94 inches long, beating the previous record of 0.78 inches. The boy's mother said, quote, "Kurt is in the 5th grade, and this is a about the most exciting thing that has happened all year for him and his classmates. To say that this has been an exciting event for Kurt and our family would be an understatement.
A vegan bride-to-be's unusual wedding stipulation is going viral after she revealed that she uninvited all meat eaters from the ceremony, including her very own mother. The 20-year-old Australian woman wrote in a now viral post in a Facebook group called Vegan Revolution that she banned all omnivores from her wedding ceremony, including her very own family. The woman said the banned family members, including her mother and 2 cousins who were originally slated to be bridesmaids. One of the woman's cousins responded to the post, saying that she and other family members were shocked and heartbroken to have their invitations revoked. The woman then deleted her post, but not before the screenshots spread across the internet.
Drivers in an Australian state will soon be able to get license plates personalized with their favorite emoji. Personalized plates, Queensland said that the state's available plates will be expanded March 1st to include the emoji symbols for laugh out loud, wink, sunglasses, heart, and smile. The agency said that the emoji plates will also include 3 letters and 2 numbers. Queensland's Law Society President Bill Potts questioned whether the emoji plates will cause trouble for police. He said the plates could cause trouble for automated license plate recognition systems, asking, quote, "How do you write down the emoji in your number plate after an accident?" Potts also said he is disappointed that the emoji can't change depending on the driver's mood. But hey, we can't have it all.
Now, your WHPC Long Island weather forecast.
Tonight, mostly cloudy skies, low of 23. Tomorrow, cloudy with periods of snow during the afternoon, high near 30. Accumulation of up to an inch. Thursday, morning clouds will give way to sunshine for the afternoon, high of 53. And it's currently 35 degrees outside our studios in Garden City.
Thanks for listening to the WHPC News Wrap-Up for Jacides Espinal and Danielle Schwetz. I'm Zach Turkel. Coming up next, we got WHPC Sports Talk. Have a good night, everybody.
The WHPC News Wrap-Up is brought to you by Newsday and Newsday.com on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
This show is brought to you by the NYCB Theater at Westbury, who presents Tommy James and the Shondells, with special guests The Grassroots and the Box Tops, on Friday, March 15th at 8 p.m. More information can be found online at thetheateratwestbury.com.
This program is brought to you by Miller's Ale House, located at 3046 Hempstead Turnpike, across from the Tri-County Flea Market in Levittown. Open for lunch, dinner, and late night, featuring a full bar 7 days a week, where you can watch all your favorite teams while eating their zingers, wings, a cheeseburger, and more. More information is available at millersalehouse.com or by calling the Levittown location at 516-520-7000. Miller's Ale House of Levittown is a proud supporter of the voice of Nassau